Hey friends, in this video we will look at what is actually harmful when it comes to stuttering. The first harmful thing with stuttering is substituting words, as it doesn't solve the problem. We replace a word, but it may not be right, and even if it fits, we'll replay it in our heads. We see ourselves as defeated by stuttering. Stuttering intensifies because we realize we've surrendered again. It's also harmful to leave words unfinished, especially when you have a lot to share. The stuttering will intensify due to the understanding that we have raised the white flag once again and caved in under it. Stuttering harms when words are left unfinished. If you have knowledge, you want to share it, but stuttering stops you from completing. People often say less to avoid speech blocks and tension. The fear of speaking is also harmful. You really understand the topic well, but because of your stuttering, you don't finish not just words, but phrases and sentences. Often people know a lot, but end up saying less than half of what they know, just to avoid causing themselves extra harm in the form of speech blocks, frequent stumbles, and tension. And the logophobia that comes with all this is also quite harmful. Refraining from speaking when stuttering, for example. A child is in school, they've prepared well. For a long time, they've learned the lesson well, and then they're asked a question. 20 people are looking at him, and they already basically know that he used to stutter. And the teachers know everything, and then he decides, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't say anything, maybe I should just say that I don't know anything, and then I won't stutter, I won't experience any of those. 10-20, old speech blocks. I'm not leaving school in such a bad mood. As usual, I was leaving. Well, if you stuttered right now. And sometimes, yes, people, children, and even adults make the choice to protect their mental health. And they just say that they don't know the subject, that they didn't study the lesson, and they have nothing to say. Or sometimes it's like an intermediate stage. You know, you answer like you're aiming for a 5, but you end up with a 3. Like, bro, you kind of mumble, right? I mean, you try to chew on something, slow down your words, push through. And then you say, well, that's it, just to end this ordeal. What else is harmful? Taking pills to get rid of stuttering and hoping that this problem can be fixed just with medication is not the answer. And it doesn't matter what it is. Whether it's antidepressants, sedatives, or tranquilizers, it doesn't really matter. Tranquilizers, nootropics, sedatives, antidepressants. All of this can help, but only as an additional, not a primary element in the overall educational program. And again, the next mistake is not therapeutic. What's harmful is thinking that stuttering is a disease, that it's definitely a disease and that it needs to be treated. In a non-academic way, for example, thinking that you can go to a hypnotist and they'll fix everything. He'll get into your head and work on it with you there on the root issue. Remember what happened before? Think back to your childhood. Dig up that problem that might have started everything. It doesn't matter. Either the tank or the parents, and they're drunk there, or something else, Daruvenka. It's about fights, whether you fell or not, with a difference. You dig into it with him, reevaluate it, and then write it down like, I just know what it is. And I know that in most cases it doesn't work. It works, but unfortunately, only for a short time, and most likely there will just be a regression after that. And you can't do anything with it like before. It's dangerous and harmful. You think that stuttering is a disease and that doctors should cure you somewhere in a clinic, because there are those who just lie down. The truth is, there isn't really a specific symptom of stuttering, and you have to deal with it in the clinic, and they treat you. So you don't even have that, no one will just put you in a clinic. Stuttering, you might have disorders, nervous ones, and they could put you in a mental hospital. Okay, that's how it is. But if you stutter even severely, then it's like you need to calm your nerves. So because it looks like that, it's like your nerves are all frayed. You're really jumpy, right? Jumpy, you start, and your speech is affected. The apparatus just shakes, back and forth. You start to squint your eyes, pushing with your speech apparatus, meaning you're using it incorrectly. Uncomfortable, unfree, uneasy, unnatural. And all of this looks like, well, let's say, as if a person is not themselves, not healthy. And yes, they can put him in a clinic then, but again, not one that specializes in stuttering, but most likely a mental hospital. That's one option. I think it's not worth much to anyone, and I'll say in advance that it's ineffective. The effectiveness of such an action just approaches zero or even goes into the negatives, because there they will inject you with all sorts of real tranquilizers that suppress your nerve receptors. You're very calm, yeah? You might not stutter, but at the same time you'll have drool coming out of your mouth and you'll be, let's say, an abnormal person. Not in consciousness, not in normal consciousness, not in an adequate state. Then you can hope for such a result. But again, it won't suit many people. More precisely, it probably won't satisfy anyone. Next, what's harmful? It's harmful to wait for stuttering to just go away on its own. Because, for example, I often get approached by adults who have stuttered for 30 years, and during the appointment, they were already talking in a free consultation. What? Why didn't you reach out earlier? They didn't believe it, there wasn't enough time, friends said it was incurable, relatives said to just break up, calm down. This is the kind of time, but after all, we have the best thing, right? So it's like everything will pass, just don't worry too much, and so on and so forth. And even at 58 years old, there have been cases where people reached out even from abroad. It's that kind of time, but we have the best thing with us, right? So it's like everything will pass, just don't worry too much, and so on and so forth. And even at 58 years old, there have been cases where people reached out even from abroad. For example, there was a person who was African American, and he reached out from the Hawaiian Islands. At 58 years old, after 2 months of work, he understood a lot, and he started speaking much better, more confidently. Well, better late than never. It's harmful to listen to your relatives, for example, who say, listen, well, you stutter. You were born with it. Stuttering is with you forever. You can't do anything about it. It's just that if you could do something, we would know what could be done, right? We would have already taken you somewhere, you would have practiced and so on. So it turns out that if a person is, let's say, strongly influenced, if they believe wholeheartedly in what their relatives say, they don't even have enough competence to discuss the topic of stuttering or speech disorders properly and adequately. So most likely he's cutting off his own path to being able to cope, to get rid of stuttering. At least by 90-95%. And that's already a really good benchmark where in principle you feel great and speak freely. Many don't even believe that you can at least speak better by half. If people listen to such individuals, then they are most likely not reaching out anywhere. They already know that, what's the point? I'm going to reach out if it will still lead to the same result. It's temporary. It will all fade away. I won't be able to do it again. Again, I'll be looking for a new way to solve it, and so on, and so on. Again, I'll be suffering, and what if it doesn't work out? And if it does, then just a little bit. I'll be worried again. And that's it. And people, again, sometimes don't reach out because of this. Well, as they say, those who don't take risks don't just miss out on champagne. They don't enjoy normal speech either. Doesn't come to normal thinking and all the consequences that follow. Because again, our speech depends on our thinking. So today I talked to you about what is harmful when it comes to stuttering. If you liked this episode, give it a thumbs up, leave feedback, write in the comments, and also let me know what other topics you think I should make videos about. See you next time. This was Alexander Degilevich. Everything will work out. The main thing is to believe and move in the right direction.